Welcome back to Tiny Space Academy, episode 17, Callisto Collusion. So we are going to finish up the Juno system here by accomplishing all of the Callisto objectives. And this is going to be interesting because, firstly, we need to get a satellite over there and do some recog. And then we've got to get some astronauts, at least one, I think two over there. Because I think we have to do a large science module, and then bring them back, get them on the surface, and then bring them back home. So yeah, so this is another one of those tricky ones. Now Callisto is a pretty small moon, and I believe it really has pretty low gravity, and I believe that it has almost no atmosphere, if any. So this is going to be kind of like the moon on Earth, except that there's this thing called Jupiter. And Jupiter is a gravity hog. I mean, that thing will suck in anything that's close. So when we blast off of Callisto, Jupiter is going to want to capture us immediately. So we're going to have to expend quite a bit of fuel just to get out of Jupiter's sphere of influence there. So yeah, so I'm putting together my my satellite here, and we need a medium science module. We're going to put a fairing there for some aerodynamics. We'll get a nice fuel tank and a small vacuum engine in order to get this thing into orbit around Callisto. And then we've got ourselves, our decoupler here. And then we've got our first stage. And we'll put on a big, the largest couple of them, medium fuel tanks. And then we'll put on our large engine. So 1.75 is pretty good in terms of thrust to weight ratio. Should be able to launch this fairly good. I think that I'm going to need some kind of solar power, some panels. So let's put those on. There we go. Nice and symmetric. And then let's blast it off. We only have 550 fuel total. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get us all the way there and to get us into orbit. But we can try. I mean, if so, that's a pretty cheap mission. We still have 119 fuel. I'm going to go all the way around to the other side of the orbit and then push it out toward Jupiter. You can see Callisto is the only thing that we don't have anything, nothing's orbiting it, so it's the one on the left. All right, here's our nice little capsule. Well, it looks like we still have the fairing on. We can turn this, but let's dump our fairing. There we go. We don't need that anymore. All right, here we are. We're getting around the back side of the orbit here, our fastest part of the orbit. And then let's go ahead and turn it and let's expand this orbit out when we're on the opposite side here. There we go. So now we can push this orbit out and we'll basically bring it out towards Jupiter. There we go. And then look at this, the slope part of the orbit is going to bring us right into that sphere of influence of Callisto. So that's pretty good. This is a good use of fuel. Doesn't always go this way, but sometimes you get lucky and you push the orbit out just right and you get rewarded. So very nice. All right, so we're bringing our way towards Jupiter. As you can see, our velocity is getting pretty low. We're going to get captured into Jupiter's sphere of influence fairly easily here. I mean, we are slowing down big time, all the way down to towards 100 meters per second. So we should get captured immediately. There we go. All right, now we're going to start speeding up as we get closer to Jupiter. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to expel some fuel here. We're going to need to slow down our orbit. And we're going to try to bring this, there we go. All right, we're going to go and smash into that moon if we don't adjust this orbit out a little bit, and that's what we'll do. So we push it out horizontally there to bring out the orbit, and then here we're going to go ahead and we're going to slow it down even more so we don't get outside the sphere of this little moon. That's looking nice. And now we're in orbit. So we need to complete an orbit around with the satellite, and then we have to use the medium science module. So here we're using the medium science module, and there's our orbit, and we have completed the mission. And we get $1,400, 75 science, which is not very much, but it didn't really cost us much to get there. And as you can see, we still have 89 fuel remaining. So this was pretty good. This is one of the best ones, actually. So here I can go ahead and expand the orbit out a little bit, make it more of a circular kind of orbit. And then once I get over here to the farthest part away, I will turn it toward my orbit and I will expand it out just slightly more, and then make them pretty much equal. So there we go. That's a pretty nice circular orbit. Look at that. All right, so now we have to launch a large science module into space and complete 2 orbits around Callisto with the large science module. And as you can see, it's pretty much exactly equal. So as you can see, it's pretty good. See, it just flipped the other way. So yeah, this is about as circular of an orbit as you're going to get. So I'm going to go around here, and I'll just hit my medium science module one more time to get some more science. So we'll go to the assembly, and we will attempt to get a few of these missions all in one. So now this one, as you can see, we got to have a large science module. We got to have we have to use it. We have to have a crew. We got to get down there with a medium science module. So this is going to be this is going to be a rocket. So let's take a look at this thing. So I'm turning the engines off of that because that's going to be our blast off out of Callisto and back. So we are taking off for Callisto. We're going to try to not use up all of our fuel. and try to get them back home. So we have 800 fuel here, and I'll just go ahead and deploy the solar panels. I put 4 solar panels on there. I do have a large module. I also have a medium module. Try to accomplish all of these objectives with one vehicle. Yes, it was a very costly vehicle. That is for sure. So I'm going to just keep on hitting these science modules to try to get some more science points. All right, so I've turned the rocket toward the orbit, so I'm going to go ahead and push this orbit out towards Jupiter, just like we did last time, and try to line up that AP with Callisto. That's pretty close. That will definitely get us into Jupiter's sphere, and then maybe a little shallow from Callisto. So, but I think I can make it work. We still do have 682 fuel, so that's not too bad. All right, so we're getting fairly close here. So I'm going to push it out a little bit. There you go. So I pushed out the orbit just a tad. Try to come around the other side, although that might be a little bit shallow as well. It's probably better than where we were before. So, but yeah, we're on a pretty good path here. I'd say it's looking positive. It's certainly going to get captured by Jupiter right away. Yep. And we are going to miss crashing directly into Callisto, so that's good. So here we are, and I'm basically just narrowing out the orbit, and I'm going to try to push it out just a little bit so I don't actually slam into the moon. So I'm pushing it out just a bit. It's going to be pretty close, but I don't want to smash right down onto it. So looks like we have enough clearance there. So here's my big old rocket. Still using a lot of that fuel from the vacuum engine just to get us into a good orbit here. So as we come around, I'm going to go ahead and shallow this orbit out. Make sure that I'm staying within the sphere of influence here. We just need to complete one more orbit around with this large science module, and we'll be able to call this a space station and complete this mission. There we go. Great. $1,650 and 100 science points later, we are looking good. So now we just need to use the large science module while in orbit around Callisto. And once we do that, we will cause the mission to complete, and we will have done our space station research. And look at this. Completed. $1,900 and 125 science points. So now we're getting some money, we're getting some science from use from just this one vehicle here. I'm going to go ahead and save it here. I think I'll just save it there. There we go. All right, so now we need to land and plant a flag. And what we're going to end up doing here is saying goodbye to our basically our second stage. We got our biggest engine that's turned off, and we have our lander up there with a crew. And there's our legs. We want to land this whole thing basically on Callisto. It's pretty heavy, but we have to. We're going to need this fuel in order to blast back off. So I'm gonna make sure that I don't hit this other part that's basically sitting in orbit. So because I actually plan on using that somewhat to get back. So that's why I put a little docking port on there. All right, so here we go. Now we're going to make our descent down to Callisto. We have 548 fuel to get down and to get back up. All right. I don't think these parachutes are going to do much good here, but All right, so we're going in pretty slow. We're only at 75, 76. We're using not much fuel, which is really good when we put, because I've just got these little small guys on there. And I don't have the medium one kicking off. See, as you can see, the small guys are just firing. We are speeding up as we get down, but the small guys actually, just even this is small power, it's actually, getting us down in speed. So I'm just going to go right, pretty much trying to, shallow this thing down, get it onto a nice vertical descent to land nice and flat. So as you can see, we're speeding up here. We're going, close to 90. We can't land it at 90. Parachutes are going to do us no good. So we're going to have to fire off these engines. You can see it using quite a bit of fuel now. I'm slowing this thing down, getting it down to about 75 or so, 74, 75 at full. Now I'm going to have to turn on the main engine. That's going to slow us down quite a bit. Trying to get us down to there we go. Whew, that is not easy. I'm telling you, it's not. That's not an easy thing to do. Is to get that engine on, make sure you have the right, the right velocity. We'll do an EVA here. There we go. We're on the surface. Awesome. And we're going to plant our flag. And now basically it says we just need to launch a crewed capsule into space. So I'm just going to put a little capsule there, a nice engine. I'm going to put myself a large parachute, a few of them, because I actually want to bring this whole thing back so I can get some money. All right, so we got blast off and we are in space. And that's going to complete our mission, $2,100 and 150 science. And as you can see, this thing, I just used way too much fuel. This did not need to go out this far, I can tell you that. This was not the plan. Anyway, the surface research mission is next, and I have to collect 5 rock samples and then use the medium science module. So that's not going to be a problem. I'm going to go ahead and combine all the parachutes here, and I'm going to come. Wow. I mean, I almost went out of the sphere of influence of the Earth, and that's way too far. But you'll notice that the speed, we're not having an issue here. It's still, well below, like 260, 270 is where it appears is where the where you could run into some heat issues. And it looks like I just burned up. So that's not good. It looks like I did get going too fast there. Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a smaller fuel tank on there. And then I think I'm just going to use a couple of small parachutes because I don't think I need to have all large. Just trying to get this thing done cheap, So here we go. So we're going to blast off with only 90 fuel this time. And this should, I'm only going to use 80 of it, I think. Well, I might not be able to. Yep, I did get out of the atmosphere. All right, so now that we're a much shorter route, I actually even have some fuel left. If I want to, I can use it to slow it down even further. But you can see, I'm only coming in at 120 this time. Yeah. So that's no heat damage whatsoever. Really nice. I could actually fire off the engines here soon. But I don't think I'm going to need to. Look how slow this thing's going down. It's going down at 15. So there we go. That was nice. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my small capsule and recover it for $197. And look at that. We're looking really good. So I'm going to go back to my rocket that's sitting around. It's Callisto. There we go. Okay. So there's my guy. He just needs to collect some rocks. There we go. Collect 2 more. Fire off my my medium science module and collect the last couple of rocks that I need. There we go. And as soon as that medium science module is done, look at that. That is, I don't think I want to get down in there at all. I think that if I'm going to jump, I'm going to try to jump over, but no thanks for now. Look at this thing. Yeah, there are some deep cracks in there, and you don't want to get down in those. I don't think you ever get out. So let's get back in that ship. And the medium science module is going to be complete here very soon. There we go. All right, so we got $2,200 and our 200 science. So this is getting us our money back very nicely. Okay, so let's get back in this ship. Standing on the nose cone. There we go, I'm in the ship. All right, now I just need to basically get this thing off the moon and back up into orbit. Let's put all of the fuel into the main tank, and then we can go ahead and we can ditch those boosters and the landing gear. We'll take off the legs, and then we will, our fuel is looking good. There we go. We just ditched the 2 boosters, and we'll just try to get this thing straight up. There we go. I'm gonna try to get this thing into orbit. Not too far though. I don't want to go too far. If we go too far out there, we'll get captured by Jupiter and we'll never get back home. All right, so as you can see, it looks like we're gonna intersect this thing coming up here. I'm wondering if I can just do a dock right here, or if I'm gonna need to. Yeah, I'm going a little too fast. I'm gonna miss it. And bye-bye. Dock, dock, dock. No, the magnet is not that not that powerful. There's no way it's gonna suck that those two things together going that fast. So I'm gonna have to adjust this orbit, try to match that other eccentric orbit somewhat, and then and dock these things back together. And that was a little mistake there. I actually wanted to expand this orbit out on the other side, not contract it and go back down. So that was a little waste of fuel, unfortunately. But and I don't have any power really to speak of. So, but it looks like I'm going so slow here, 25 meters per second. I can go ahead and just expand this orbit out. So there we go. Don't want to clip the moon. All right, that's pretty close to the other orbit. I'm gonna need to kind of twist it to the left a little bit there. I think how I do that is by going about halfway and doing it. So I just went ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I did this. So I took off, right, and then I just kind of try to match up the orbit. Make it pretty wide. Somewhat circular there. Don't want to get it, in the outside of the sphere of influence, but so basically the last thing I got to do is return to Earth with the astronaut and land safely. And that seems to be like the toughest part of any of these missions. Okay, I'm trying to expand this thing out, because really what I want to do is I want to get these two right here, this guy. I want to get this capsule to line up with the other one. The other satellite that I pushed out there was just trying to get out of the way so I don't have any kind of collisions going on. But you can see I'm trying to manipulate this orbit here to kind of mimic the other orbit. I don't have much fuel remaining. And so that's why I'm trying to. So I'm going to shrink it down a bit. Only got 15 fuel left on with this guy. So I'm trying to duplicate the other orbit as best I can. So here, and really what I want to do is try to connect it at its, at its slowest point. So I'm going to go ahead and swing around here. And here we're getting pretty close. So instead of docking it, since there's really no point, there's no fuel really remaining, I think I'm just going to go ahead and make an EVA and just try to get close. I think I'm just too far away to do any kind of EVA at this point. Down to 14 fuel. Turning the ship, making it a little bit slower. And we'll come around. Try to line these two guys up so I can get a good transfer here. All right, we'll swing around. And we're coming in. This looking close, but a little too far away. So that's not going to quite work out. We'll have to do it around a few more times. Maybe the next one, not this one, but the next one coming around. Actually, it might be 2 away. Not this one. This one coming around here. This one might be close. We're coming on the inside track. That thing is just a little bit too fast for us. So we'll see if this next time around we'll get there. Looks like it'll be past us as well. I'm going to expand this orbit out a bit. Try to line it up a little bit closer. Down to 9 fuel. Try to give us more opportunity to get closer to the other ship. So I'm going to go ahead and try to line it up. There we go. So I got one area lined up. I am going to need to turn this thing around and make it a little bit wider on the other end so I don't slam into the planet, into that moon. So we can go ahead and expand the orbit out just a bit. That's not too bad. I think we're going to be almost skimming the surface here. Whoa. Yeah, that's pretty close. So I just need to catch up to this other orbit. So we'll go around and catch up. We'll probably need one more orbit. All right. So here we're getting pretty close. I think this one might be the one. See, this one's got 74 fuel to get us back home. The other one doesn't have much. We're coming in on the inside track here. Check this out. If we were just going a little bit faster, we may have been able to do it, but this is just too far away. It's too far away. Only got 5 fuel remaining. These little adjustments are eating up fuel just ever so slightly. Only got 4 fuel. Churning this ship. Don't want to slam into the surface. Going to have to expand it out just a bit, down to 3 fuel, 2 fuel, 1 fuel. All right, so we're on the inside track, and we are catching up, but the orbits are very close to each other, but you can see I'm on the inside track, so I am going to catch up in another orbit or two. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing around. And then I'm not going to go outside of it very much, just a little bit here. But on this part, I'm definitely going to be catching up. I'm trying to get close to this guy. And so I've widened this orbit out just a bit. Here we go. This is another attempt, as you can see, at it. I basically have a different setup for rocket. The other one, I could not get it back home. Jupiter was just too influential. So I had to get like a more powerful rocket, basically, that gave me more fuel. So now you can see I had 74 fuel remaining there. I actually sent it in order to rescue. I sent this guy here in order to rescue. So I was able to dock those 2 ships, but I just didn't have enough fuel to get it back home. 74 fuel. So unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. So now I had to basically get all 3 of these astronauts from one ship to another, so I can bring them all back home. All right. So now I've got the other capsule that I took off, and this is going to be a no-brainer now to be able to bring them back home. But once again, it's just very difficult to attempt to get all these missions done in with one vehicle, you know. That's the biggest thing. All right, here we go. So we're going to push out our orbit, get outside Jupiter's sphere, get sucked back into the sun. Just want to get outside, just keep it inside the sphere here, and then push it out towards the Earth on the other side. There we we go. All right, so we're going to go outside of Jupiter's sphere here, and then we will get back down toward the Earth. And that one pushed us well far out. That was probably way too far out. But since we have a bunch of fuel, it's not going to hurt us. We'll just go ahead and shrink this thing down. All right, we'll speed this up. And then we'll get a little bit closer to the Earth here. Let's go ahead and burn it now. Shrink this orbit down to get into the sphere of the Earth. There we go. We are going very slowly, only 63 meters per second, but we are going to be speeding up quite a bit as we get to Earth, and we have plenty of fuel to slow us down. So it's very expensive having all that equipment sitting around there in space, but what are you going to do? Got to get these guys back home. All right, so we're coming into our approach of the Earth. I am looking forward to the next bunch of missions, which are going to take us to Saturn and to Titan. I have not started those missions. I have not played them yet. And probably going to do that next week is what I'm thinking. 4th of July weekend. Just a little bit of time off there, so it sounds like maybe on a Friday afternoon late after work. Alright, so as you can see, I've got the orbit coming in here. Still pretty fast. Shrinking it down a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and just slow us down. Slow us down big time. Bring this right down into the sphere and go into orbit around the Earth. There we go. And we can just bring it right on down into the atmosphere. We're going pretty slow. Just don't want to hit that other satellite there. Careful. Nah, we got plenty of room. All right, as you can see, we're going to be coming down into the Earth's atmosphere here pretty soon. And we're doing a decent speed, 220, 230 or so meters per second. Should not burn us up. We got some re-entry heat, but we're okay. All right, coming on down, deploy the chute. There we go. We can fire off the rocket. Oh, no. Well, check that out. We landed safely. We'll go ahead and recover our capsule, and that should do it. So that was interesting. $2,300, 250 science points, and satellite orbiter Saturn will be next. We'll see you then.